starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast, baby. And without further ado, let's get to a special guest. His name is Sharif Tabbah, but everyone just calls him Dr. Reef, baby. He is a doctor of physical therapy. He is a strength and conditioning specialist and Alchemy Sports RX with multiple locations, baby. He's here to talk about that and some of his New York Jets clients. Let's bring him in. Dr. Reef here on the program. What's up, doctor?
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm doing excellent. So let's get into that right off the bat. A little bit of a brand change there. Now, Alchemy Sports RX. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so about a year ago or so, had a big brand change. Very excited about it. Alchemy Sports RX. So still doing what we do, working on getting all of our athletes back at a high level, and also just helping guys perform at their best. So just very excited to hit the market with something new.
Yeah, of course. And we'll get into both of those things because I think that speaks to two of your clients in particular. We'll go with the most recent one, which is Jalen Mills. The New York Jets sign him. He's a talented defensive back, former Super Bowl champion. He's been in the league for a long time. Most recently was with the New York Giants in training camp. But the whispers in the streets were one of the reasons, or the main reason perhaps, the Giants moved on was because of some sort of a calf injury. So take us from that injury to you and Jalen connecting the dots and ultimately you getting him back to health.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jalen and I have worked together on and off the last handful of years. And when he had this issue, unfortunately, he was dealing with a calf issue that kind of sidelined him a bit, as everybody knows. So he reached out and said, man, I'm trying to find someone like you nearby. And I just realized I should just come to Florida. I said, yeah, let's do it. So he flew down and we really got after it right away. And the goal was to just focus on getting him healthy as fast as possible because we knew the calls were coming in and it was just a matter of how quick can we get you back out there, but still do it in a safe way so that we don't take one step forward to take two steps back. So we focused early on just getting him healthy with the tissue work, restoring tolerance of strength training and load and dynamics, and eventually progressed our way back to the field. And after a few short weeks of some serious dedication, we really got him back full go. And he made a couple of calls with his agent. Before he knew it, he was signed back and ready to start.
Okay. Well, Dr. Reef, one of the things I've seen is in a lot of your interviews, maybe perhaps promotions of your business, is that it shows that you sit down with a client and you go through their injury history and you try to see what it is, because it seems like what you do is custom to whatever the injury is. For instance, if my arm hurts, we're probably not doing the same thing that Jalen Mills may be doing for his calf. So can you speak to that level of customization per client, that it is custom to their specific needs?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. Thank you. So I think for us, what's super important is when we have athletes come in the door, the first thing we do is a total body assessment, regardless whether or not they're coming in for a particular injury or not. We want to just take a look at the whole body, screen everything, and see, do we find any imbalances, right versus left? And if we do, we try to hone in with a little bit more detail and use some objective technology to get some true objective numbers on, hey, maybe our right knee, right quad is putting out more force than the left, but by how much? So let's get those numbers. Okay, we can see it's a 10% differential. But now we'll take it a step further and say, let's get explosive and do something like jumps and landing. And that might tell us, well, actually, it's the rate of force production that's a problem. So the strength might be a slight issue, but it's your power or your force absorption that's a bigger problem. So we're able to get very specific and then tailor the training or the rehab component, both of which actually, to that particular athlete. So we might find, hey, in rehab, we need to focus on your eccentric control for your absorption and your landing. And therefore, what does that mean we need to work on the field for your position? We need to do X, Y, Z, or we need to modify your particular training program to include these things or avoid those things. So a lot of it will there be overlap between different athletes or different positions, but then we also have the customization based on individualization that's required for their particular goals or needs.
And doctor, from what I understand, you don't just find injured birds out on the sidewalk and bring them in and nurse them back to health. Sometimes it's not injury related at all. It is, again, to the point that you are also an expert, a specialist in strength and conditioning. That seems to be outside of something maybe I don't know. For like Quincy Williams is another example, a guy you work through throughout the offseason, not necessarily injury related, but a guy that you're trying to help take to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. We get lots of athletes that come through healthy, either looking just to kind of stay in shape and stay on top of the good work that they've seen us do, or sometimes they've come in the past with an injury and that exposed them to us and what we do. And then now next season or next offseason, they come back healthy and still want to come get the work in. We got a lot of work in with Quincy this year as well. He did great. He came in really ready to work. We ran into each other in Vegas at the Super Bowl, and he was like, I'm coming this offseason. I'll be back. So we were like, all right, cool. It sounds good. And he showed up and put the work in. We had a couple of nicks and knacks early off season, like everybody does, that we wanted to work on. So we addressed that, got things feeling better, and then gradually progressed his intensity as well. And honestly, was just focused on improving his overall game and just getting him ready for the season.
Yeah, let's go through some of the. We have some exclusive footage here, baby, of Quincy Williams getting to work. On some of these footage, and I'll throw another one out real quick. Behind him, what are some of these custom things that you're doing when you're getting some on-field work?
Sure. I mean, like in the first video, for example, it was a little bit more positional emphasis. So we were working on like a curl hook drop and just having him drop into space and then read and react based on where the ball is thrown. So kind of at this point, this was later in the offseason. So we're simulating a lot of what he's going to have to do upcoming at camp and, of course, during the season. So whereas earlier in the offseason, it might be more predictive and meaning, hey, we're going to run here, cut this way, do this sort of agility drill. It's a little bit more pre-planned, whereas that drill, for example, was showing a lot more reactivity. So that's a little bit later in the offseason, just getting guys ready. And then the second drill was you saw a quick glimpse of him doing some linear sprint work with some chains. So we do different variable resistance, or I should say different resistance work with our speed work during different points of the off season. So that video, we were working on some top end speed and dragging some chains behind him. We'll also do acceleration focus days where maybe we're pushing something or dragging something as well, where it's just shorter distance. So of course our mechanics will change based on what part of the running phase we're working on. But we always look to find ways to progress them throughout the off season early on, starting with mechanics, then getting to a little bit more load, and then actually getting to adding some sort of resistance later in the offseason as well. So just working on progression to get them faster and stronger.
Again, we're speaking with Sharif Tabbah, a.k.a. Dr. Reef, Doctor of Physical Therapy, a strength and conditioning specialist, and Alchemy Sports RX. I got to get some of the gear. You're all branded up here. I need to make sure I get over to the shop, baby. Get some of the hat and shirt. Yeah, please. Let's get me hooked up ASAP. Now, I'm curious, Doctor, do you ever come up with a workout or a specific thing that you want the player to work on with you, and they give you a what in God's green earth is that? That sounds a little off the wall. That seems a little crazy because we talked about this last time because we've had you on before to discuss one of your clients, Carl Lawson. I'm going to throw this up on the screen for people watching. Your pinned tweet is the Alvin Kamara back and forth, and I've heard people go, "What in God's green earth is this?" He's like balancing on a medicine ball. He's catching. There's a lot going on here. Do you ever get any questions from some of your clients or athletes in terms of that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we'll throw some unique challenges up at athletes, focusing on, like in this case, we were combining stability, balance, coordination, and hand-eye coordination, cognitive decision making as well. So as I'm throwing those sticks, we're calling different colors out. He has to also work on hand-eye coordination to catch it, and then of course the core stability and balance to maintain his balance up on the ball. So we'll do different things like that. I know we had some stuff with Quincy, for example, where we're doing some lunges on a Bosu, throwing a ball with rotation. So all these things kind of combine to focus on teaching the athlete how to move in space, control their body in these unstable environments. A major argument we'll get a lot of the time is like in sports, the athlete isn't playing on a ball or playing on an unstable surface, but very rarely do they have both feet on the ground, and is everything in a very controlled environment. We're running, we're cutting, we're hitting people, we're taking hits. So learning how to control your body and maintain strong core stability makes a big difference in some of those functional outcomes that we're looking for.
So, do you have somewhere at Alchemy Sports RX in one of your 2 locations? Do you have like a laboratory where you're cooking up all these creative and unique ideas, or where is that being done? Is that all your mind? Do you have a team that's helping you come up with some of these creative ways to get the most out of your players?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, a lot of it starts in the mind, right, and creativity. But of course, my team and the culture we've built over at Alchemy, we've got a lot of great members of the team that are all on the same page. They've learned a lot from what we've done historically, and then they use their creative mind and experience to expand upon that and come up with more unique, creative, functional-based exercises to work with all our different clients. So, yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of our culture at Alchemy, and we've got a great team behind it.
How big is a source of pride? So you bring somebody in, they're looking to do a desired thing. Maybe, again, to your point, it's an injury and they're trying to get stronger from it, or perhaps the strength and conditioning. They're just trying to stay in great shape and take it to the next level. When those players and those clients end up having success, how much does that rev both your engine and that of Alchemy Sports RX?
Absolutely. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing, your work in the off season and the players work in the off season pay off when the season comes around. Last night watching the Cowboys game, it was great to see also of CD's success. He had a couple of tough last couple of games, and came back really focused and had a great game. And we worked a lot together this off season. So I was happy to see his success last night. I know a lot more is coming, and just watching Quincy and all these other guys that we have in the off season just do an amazing job. Seeing Geno Smith, the success he's having currently, and there's just definitely a lot of pride there. But of course, at the end of the day, it's all up to them. They come, they put the work in. They have to go execute on Sundays. They have to do all the work. So it's really a result of their hard work. But happy to play a small part in that.
All right, Dr. Reef, let's get some flexing. Come on. Can you, how many clients do you have? Who are some of your clients? It's flex time, baby. Come on. And especially you, Dr. Reef, when I'm seeing some of the visuals on Instagram and this or that, sure, I see the players like, oh, wow, look, there's Quincy Williams. Oh, wow, there's that. There's the Dr. Reef. I'm like, whoa, Dr. Reef is yoked. He's doing some work himself.
Yeah, I try to stay in shape and try to keep up with these guys. It's important. It's important for me, but it's also important to be able to kind of lead the way. Sometimes we'll come up with these exercises like you mentioned, and they'll look at me like, who's doing that? And I'll be like, let me show you how it's done really fast. So that always helps to be able to kind of hop in there and do that. And even sometimes, whether that's laying on the bench and getting involved there, or just jumping on a stability ball, or even demonstrating a movement outside, whatever it might be, I try to be able to stay as active as I can to be able to be a lead demonstrator on that as well. But yeah, I mean, we've had a great success over the years. I'm honored and humbled by how much continuity we've had over the years and growth. Mentioned a few of our guys already, but I'm excited to see. I know Kareem Hunt, we had this offseason coming back off injury, and I just saw he signed back, so we're super excited for him. Can't wait to see what he's going to do. Cortland Sutton, we did a lot with this offseason, come back from injury as well, and he's starting to build up and get his speed, and he's getting ramped up. So we're excited to see where that's going to go. But yeah, just keeping up with our guys, and super, super happy for everybody's success and their hard work. And now it's the fun part. We sit back and watch and enjoy.
Dr. Reef, I'm curious. You mentioned that in your last answer when I was talking about your incredible physique. That you're a guy that wants to get your hands dirty and get in there. It feels like a big difference maker. Like if I was a player and I was a client of yours, and you're just like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Of course, like that's why I'm there. So of course I would do it. But to see that you also get in the trenches and you also show how it's done, and you're also involved, that feels different than some other places where it may just be, just do it. They're not getting their hands dirty. They're not getting involved. You seem to be very enthused with being a part of that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, fitness is my lifestyle. It's always has been. I was obviously an athlete growing up, and then got old. So those days are over. Now it's just about the gym, but it's fun to be able to still be involved with high-level athletes, not just football. We see NBA, we see NHL, we see a little bit of MLB, we see some soccer, pro soccer, men and women. So it's fun to just get involved with the athletes at a different level, and just be able to kind of try to lead the way and make it more relevant, right? I think that I've had a lot of athletes express how less impactful it is when you've got a strength coach or a coach that's sitting in the corner on a stool, out of shape, directing traffic of what they want to see done, rather than how much they appreciate when someone can at least demonstrate for that quick visual feedback and or create that motivation. Like, okay, hold on, this guy can do it. Like, I definitely can do it. So it kind of creates that self-confidence as well, and helps push guys over the edge.
And Dr. Reef, you don't just work with, as you mentioned, just NFL clients. You work with all kinds of different, professional athletes in a variety of sports. Do you even know off the top of your head some of the different sports and clients that you work with? And then also, how does that change what you do or what you're asking of them? Because, obviously different sports have different requests, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, and everything else in between.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so for some examples I mentioned, I mean, we've done a lot of NBA stuff with names like Precious Achiuwa and Will Barton. And this offseason, we actually had Patrick Laine from the NHL, and he just signed a big deal switching over to Montreal Canadiens. So I'm happy for him. But it's fun because definitely we have to do some different things based on the sport and the function. And it gets your brain thinking a different way, a little bit more creatively. When it comes to volume, we just see a lot of NFL, so we do a lot of football throughout the year. But it's always nice to have that NBA offseason come around and be able to focus on some different styles of movement and styles of play, thinking about the functions they need to have compared to maybe an NHL hockey player and some of the focuses that he needed. Something as simple as like box jumps. So when it comes to football, and it's actually a lot of fun when sometimes they all overlap. There were some days where we had some football, NBA, and NHL all together, and they love it because it's a chance to do to be around athletes from a different sport, and they love kind of just chopping it up together. But then we'll have maybe a similar program, and then a lot of the little details will be varied. Of course, if they're in different phases, the exercises and the rep schemes will be different, but they might be in a similar phase, and some of the exercises are the same or similar, but then little elements are different. So for example, with the box jump in football, we might be doing something where we're coming from a seated position, waiting for a go call, and just boom, they react from that position, explode like they're getting off the line, and they jump. Whereas maybe our hockey player might be doing more of like a skater bound, like lateral on an angle, and then jump up onto the box, kind of simulating how they're going to have to push out and back on their skates. And then our NBA guy might go from a dynamic lateral shuffle, like he's in a defensive slide, reacting off my directions. And on a go call, he'll collect and jump. So little details like that to try to make it a little bit more sport specific, or even positional specific at times, especially in football, because those positions can vary so much. We try to make those little details really come to life.
Dr. Reef, do you have variety in the diet and not food wise, which I'm sure you do as a man that takes care of his body in such a way, but I mean, like sometimes do you just have clients that come in and you're a hired mercenary? Doctor, I need this, and this is the relationship, handshake, financials, whatever they are, boom, done, see you later. And then there's clients that just are with you like year-long clients that are kind of like checking in throughout the off season when obviously they probably have more time outside their sport to work on a variety of things. And they're just a constant client that's constantly there. Do you have clients in both respects in both pools?
Yeah, definitely. We have athletes that might just check in like, hey, I got this injury. I need to get cleaned up. I got 2 weeks. Get me back right. I said, okay,
wow,
boom, we get it in. We try to get them healthy. And of course, for us, that's more than just the basics of, okay, let's do the manual work and some corrective exercises. We also want to always check the full body and then help you get back onto the field, the court, whatever that is. So we're going to do all that on site. On site, we have a pool, turf fields, batting cages, basketball courts, tennis courts. So no matter what your sport is, we're going to get you back doing it before we release you. And then we'll have athletes that come in and just, they're like, I feel great. I was told to come here by so-and-so. I heard it's awesome here. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. So then we go ahead and educate them on the process and they quickly buy in. We'll have other athletes that just every off season, they know that, this is home. So they're going to come in and we start the process and we build a plan around what we find. And then throughout the season as well, we do some travel stuff. So as we have certain athletes that either want to just kind of stay on top of what we worked all off season, get a tune up, or actually have some injuries come up that need to get addressed, we'll go ahead and I'll travel and see athletes from there, and or just kind of send some of our long-term clients some exercises and routines they can do, or do some video calls to kind of still be a resource to them throughout the season. Last year I did some travel to help some athletes get back. I mean, one of the bigger platform ones was working with Geno Smith after he had hurt his elbow and was unable to throw, and we were able to get him back healthy in about 3 days in time for the Thanksgiving game, and came back and had a good week. And so, things like that. It always feels good to just be able to still be a part of their resource, even throughout the season.
Doctor, this may be super in the weeds, but I'm me, so we're gonna get some of these questions. For your customer acquisition, is it word of mouth in terms of like you do awesome with Geno Smith, he tells his teammate, who tells another teammate, who tells another teammate, and booyah! All of a sudden, Alchemy Sports RX is blowing up, or is it advertising, or is this or that? I'm just kind of curious how the sausage is made. What is that for you on customer client acquisition?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think a big part of it is time and experience, right? I just finished my 13th NFL offseason programming. So I've been doing it a long time. So at this point, I have a lot of relationships amongst the teams, athletes, players, retired players, upcoming players, from the teams themselves. Some of the teams will actually call and send guys our way, either that are released from the team with injury or on IR and they want to get healthy and get back. Or maybe are suspended and they need to work on a couple of things. And as soon as the time's up, they want to bring them right back. So having a good open relationship with the teams and even agents and things like that is very important. And of course, just, we do a lot on social and just trying to stay relevant and keep everybody aware of what we're doing. We've been doing this for a long time, but, didn't always have as many eyeballs on it. But just because more eyeballs came doesn't mean it's anything new. It's what we've been doing for a long time. So.
Which I can respect. All right, I want to show some more footage here. I want to go back to the Green Goblin, baby, which it only feels right after all the years of haunting us on the New England Patriots. And finally, he's turned it in and got some green and white for himself. This is over on Instagram here, where we're seeing old Jalen Mills here getting a lot of work with you and doing things. So take us through, give us the play-by-play here as we're seeing some of this visual footage of doing, it looks like strength, agility. I mean, there's on-field work. There's stuff in the classroom. It seems like you have, again, speaking to that term I mentioned earlier, variety in the diet.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing probably not shown a lot here is a lot of the manual therapy component, which obviously each and every day we started with the manual therapy, even dry needling and other things like that were helping kind of speed up our healing process. And then what you're seeing here is just some variable stuff that we're doing from a strength standpoint, working on strength, power. Here we're running some arcs, working on explosiveness, making sure we're getting a lot of load still on the back and on the legs, and then putting it to use on the field with some different styles of cuts and breaks and turns that he's going to have to do that all are also putting different stress on the calf. Everything we're doing is not just about simulating what he's going to have to do on the field, but also progressing it in a way that is increasing the load tolerance to the target tissue, which in this case was a calf. So as we run those arcs, it's going to put a lot of stress on the calf when we're making the turn on that inside leg, on that outside edge. So then after we ran the arcs, you see later we progressed it to he's in a man drop and then speed turns and cuts across the field. So that's obviously a way that now after we progress those S runs and arcs, now how do we put that into something that's more sport specific and position specific for him? So then we brought it back into certain drills like that. But yeah, so I think that just overall, just kind of making sure that we keep everybody healthy. That's another big point. Like this time of year, we have a lot of free agents and or injured athletes. And our goal is not only to get them healthy, but also to keep them in shape as much as we can, right? Because they just spent the last 5 months getting in shape, peaking, going through camp, and now they had XYZ injury. And you don't want to just come in and do a little bit of knee rehab and forget the cardio and forget the strength and forget the upper body and everything we just worked on all these months. So we always educate our guys that come in like, hey, yes, we have this injury going on. Like, for example, with Jalen, we have this calf, but we should still be strengthening the upper body, the rest of the core, the rest of the lower body, as much as you can tolerate on this calf that isn't going to flare it up or risk setting us back. We need to be doing, because otherwise you're going to lose it all. And an important stat we always tell our athletes is you'll lose the cardiovascular conditioning that it took you maybe 3 months to get in 1 to 2 weeks. So just because you can't run doesn't mean you can't do some form of cardio. So we had, I think we had like 8 or 9 free agents / injured NFL athletes the last few weeks, last month and a half, really. We just luckily had a handful of them sign, which is great. But they were all in with different lower body issues. And it was like, well, look, we're going to do assault bike. We're going to do the ropes. We're going to do med ball. We're going to do anti-gravity treadmill. We're going to do something to keep you in shape and keep your cardio up so that we don't lose that, because there's nothing worse than getting healthy. And then now you're like, great, now I'm out of shape. I still need another 2 weeks to get into shape. So kind of educating on that side has been a big part. But like I said, it's been really rewarding that out of those like 8 or 9 guys, I mean, we just had a ton of signings in the last couple of weeks. So we must be doing our job.
Yeah, that's for damn sure, Doctor. Again, I appreciate the flexes when you can give them. That's for damn sure. Doctor, another quickie here. Like, how quick is your turnaround time? Because to your point, someone could come to you and say, hey, I got 2 weeks. Here's my issue. What's your plan? How quick do you develop the plan for somebody? Like when you do an initial sit down, whether that's a virtual or in person, and they say, here are the things that are going on. How quickly are you able to take that information, come up with a custom plan for them that you can immediately turn around and start employing into action?
Yeah. I mean, once we have all the information, it's easy to come up with a plan. I will say the plan is fluid, meaning number one, we have to get all the info from the athlete. If the team's involved, from the team, the agent, understanding, okay, here's the injury. All right, what's the goal? Is the goal to get back as fast as possible with getting 100% healthy being secondary, or is the goal 100% healthy and then getting back is secondary?
Interesting.
That matters because that's going to change our course of action, of course. As well as, hey, did you get an injury settlement? If so, how many weeks is that? Okay, it's a 4-week injury settlement. We know that, you're already paid for those 4 weeks. The goal is to really get you healthy, take advantage of those 4 weeks. And then by week 5, we're ready to go. So we're hopefully telling teams at week 3, we're ready for workouts next week. So there's little details like that we need to keep in mind. And another component as well is just understanding the way that the NFL works, and that most of the time teams are going to do their workouts on a Monday or a Tuesday. So what does that mean? If we got a free agent who's healthy waiting for the call, we're going to have to go a little bit lighter on that front half of the week, understanding that at any moment we can get that phone call. We've been mid-workout or on the table and the phone call comes, like, you're leaving in 2 hours.
Wow.
Great. But like, imagine if I just destroyed your legs and then now you've got this plan, this workout tomorrow. So it's really important to understand that half. And then once you get to like the back half of the week, just kind of knowing, okay, more likely than not, any calls will be for the beginning of next week, so we can kind of increase our intensity and our load a little bit on the back half of this week. So little details like that we need to make sure we're keeping in mind, just to continue to help on that side, and knowing in those conversations with the agents and everything else, what are the expectations, what are the goals, how much interest do we currently have? Hey, I got 20 teams calling, I just need this guy healthy, versus, you know what, health is the most important. Let's take our time. Let's get them healthy. And sometimes that means we need to bring in extra support. We need to bring extra support from other people that we trust for maybe stem cell injections or other regenerative medicine, things that are going to speed up our process further. So that's an extra secret weapon that we'll often use. And we've got a great network of different doctors and stuff that we use for that as well.
Man, Doctor, I was impressed before, but then like the consideration of NFL teams calling at a moment's notice so that would change how you set up the workout in terms of its intensity, that is absolutely bananas. I would have never even thought of that as a possibility. Let me throw one more visual here. We'll jump back over to Instagram to see this one that you're working with. Again, you work with Quincy Williams, New York Jets linebacker this offseason. I'm seeing multiple bands here. I'm seeing some wiggling of a band, a band being stretched over here to the left. Good Lord. How many hands do we have here over at Alchemy Sports RX, for Pete's sake? But what's going on here? Walk us through this as Quincy Williams and you are also on camera on screen here as you're working on something here. What's going on?
So yeah, this was we were dealing with some aches and pain issues early off season with the knee. Super common. These guys were just beat up from the season. So this exercise is the band in the front, the black band, is doing what we call a terminal knee extension. So as he's locking his knee out, he's squeezing his quad. It's working on patellar tracking. It gets a really big, strong quad contraction. Plus, of course, we're in a lunge, or like a split lunge or a Bulgarian lunge. So all of his weight's really on that leg, or most of his weight is on that front leg. And we're working on promoting what we call a positive shin angle. So we want to see that knee get over his toes. That's going to put more stress again on the quad versus the glute and hamstring. And then I'm adding that red band, pulling him inward, if you can kind of tell from that video. So what that's doing is facilitating activation of his external rotators and hip abductors of his glute. And that's important because those muscles will help keep the knee in good alignment to therefore decrease adverse stresses to the knee and to some of those tissues like the patellar tendon and other areas that might be causing some pain. So it's really just a way to facilitate improved biomechanics. And then once you get rid of all these bands, now that you've kind of retrained the body to operate that way, it just becomes the new norm, if that makes sense.
Wow, that certainly does. That's crazy to think about. You almost like train the body to do this, and then you remove the bands, and then the body is still supposed to try to remember like muscle. Man, that is absolutely fascinating, Doctor. So please, before we get you out of here, Doctor, plug, of course, Alchemy Sports RX, multiple locations, and again, we just have to say thank you. For all the great work you've done for these amazing Jets clients, baby. I mean, the Jets are trying to win the friggin' Super Bowl this year, and Dr. Reef has done his part, baby.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Alchemy Sports RX, we've got 2 locations. We have one in Davie, which is near Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then we have one down in the heart of Miami in Brickell. Very exciting stuff there. So check us out at Alchemy Sports RX on Instagram. That's ALKEME. sportsrx.com as well. And then at Alchemy Performance are our social handles. And of course, you can follow me at Dr._Reef. Doctor is spelled out. Keep checking us out, following us. And I can't wait to see our Jets guys do their thing this year. And Quincy's been having a hell of a year so far. And hopefully a lot more to come and some contribution from Mills.
No doubt. Well, Doctor, if we're thinking about you guys, a lot of my listeners were all over the globe. A lot of us are down there in Florida. So we're thinking about you guys with everything that's going on down there, obviously, with all the hurricane action. So certainly stay safe, Doctor. And thank you so much for giving us all this insight. You know what? You've got an open invitation as far as I'm concerned, Doctor. Whenever it's the time, you're not working on people and, sculpting your own body, for goodness sake. You always got a spot on this show, my friend.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you always, and always great to talk to you.
All right, there he is. Dr. Reef will stay on, answer some more of your questions, calls, and comments. So shout out to Dr. Reef again. Guys, Alchemy Sports RX, you can follow and make sure you check him out on social media. You can also go to the website, which I also have in front of me as well. So check that out. That is alchemysportsrx.com. And you can hear a little bit more about their story, why the name Alchemy, why choose Alchemy Sports RX, and so many fascinating details. You request appointments and other details on their website. Again, he's a doctor of physical therapy and a strength and conditioning specialist. He joined us, if you remember, a couple years ago for our Carl Lawson conversation, which was absolutely terrific for that. So, guys, we're going to play a quick video. We'll get you guys going here and enjoy. We'll be back in just a moment here on the show to take some of your calls. Appreciate it.
Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. You're talking Jets football, man. Boy Green daily, boy Green daily, boy Green daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets.
Yes, those were the lovely pipes of Hep, baby. Thanks for joining us here on Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show. Also available wherever you get your podcasts. I see we have memberships to catch up on. The phone lines are now open. That is youtube.com/BoyGreen25 as we're streaming live on Heavy on Jets Facebook page, youtube.com/BoyGreen25 and Twitter @BoyGreen25 as well. And we'll get into all of that conversation here on the program. First off, let's get to some of those juicy memberships. I saw it here a little bit earlier. So let me get that. I think that was Badshaw who was getting involved. And there he is, a 5-piece combo. Oh, one of my favorites to get at Old McSpanky's, baby. Let's get it going with some chimes from the high heavens. Beautiful. Badshaw, thank you, my friend. Let's reveal those new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Bronx Jet fan, Tampa John. Again, Tampa John, thoughts out to you as well, with all the hurricanes coming through. Wavy Jets guy. Okay. Patrick Sullivan and Sack Dance 99. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, baby. Yeah. Let's get those sack dances going, baby. I feel like doing a sack dance right now, for goodness sake. I mean, it's absolutely special. So a 5-piece combo, wonderful from Terrence Hill now jumping in on the fun. Why the heck not, baby? It's a party. It's raining memberships from the high heavens. Let's play some more chimes. Oh, that was awkward. There we go. Okay, you got to flip around the light switch every once in a while. I kind of had to do that at home. Like, for instance, Jerby said, hey, your live chat wasn't working. So I went flip, switch on and off. And he said, hey, it works. I'm like, oh, well, great. Phenomenal. I'm a doctor, for Pete's sake. That's how it works, I guess. That absolutely dandy for me. And Jeff Grossman. Okay, there's nothing gross about joining the Boy Green Coffee Club. Welcome, my friend, to the gosh darn party. So another member, and we'll do all the math and give you the latest on how far we are from Johnny getting emoji-ized. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Hep Baby joining us. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul, how you doing? I like
Excellent, man.
Great. I like that conversation with Dr. Reef. It got me thinking that me and you have a lot in common. We're both undersized guys.
Yeah.
We both played running back.
We did. Yeah.
And you're an athlete still. You're a Taekwondo artist, martial artist.
That's right. There we go. Yeah.
I was a cyclist for years and years. Now
wow.
I'm down the river. I'm down the river a little bit more than you. So I kind of see what's coming, you know.
I say, oh, please do give me the deets.
And I'm going back, and I'm telling you that it's going to be we're going to pay. Yeah, there's a price to pay for playing running back undersized.
Oh boy. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah.
I got 2 new hips.
Wow.
My lower back is a mess. You know, it slows you down. But I've always been pretty slim, and the doctor said that saved me from being, you know. I gained weight since my hips, of course. It's harder to do stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to tell you as a friend, I was like, maybe now's a good time with the baby coming and the football coming. Maybe give Dr. Reef a call and say, hey, you know what? I don't have John Madden's money, but maybe you can send me up a little diet plan, a little exercise plan. And I'll come back every month and we'll do a checkup, and we'll do a before and after on this, and at the end when we collect our Super Bowl trophy.
There you go. It's a great plan, Hep. I'm going to float that over to Dr. Reef right now and see if he could sculpt this body back into Hall of Fame shape. That would be wonderful. So, Hep, if that comes through, I got to send the royalty check in the mail.
Love you guys.
All right. Thank you, Hep, for joining us here on the show. And I think we did the proper math. Flip the switch. 37 members away from old Johnny Boy getting his emoji. So shout out to Badshaw. Shout out to Terrence. Thank you for spreading the love, baby, here on the show. Yeah, it was wonderful to get Dr. Reef. He reached out, and it was amazing. And we had him on for the Carl Lawson conversation. It was spectacular. Whoa, mama. More memberships coming. Dre Correa from Deep. All righty. All right. Let's make sure we got the loopski and get a couple of members flowing from the heavens. Okay, Dre, we see you. yeah, baby. Beautiful. A 5-piece combo from Dre Correa. Sweet Lord have mercy. Memberships are coming from everywhere. Shout out to Dre, baby, for spreading the love. We got Stephen T., Chris2485, proud NYJ fan. Oh, there's Nick Shine getting in on the action. Why not? Kevin Zwicker and Jet107. You guys are all members of the Boy Green Coffee Club loyalty badge, emojis unlocked, and so many great, spectacular things, including our Discord, where the party always continues. And speaking of the Discord, we're going to get into just that in just a minute with one of our callers, but we're now 32 members away for old Johnny getting his emoji. So we're getting closer and closer, and boy, does Johnny deserve it. So let's see if we could get that to him sooner rather than later. Shout out to Dre Correa for spreading the love here on the show. Here we go, baby. And shout out to Galatron. He's finally can watch this morning. We're live. Speaking of Discord, let's get into that. Let's get into Discord, because I don't know if this is the reason Badshaw gave those memberships, because he's just a giving guy. But he and my father got into a bet, and I love these kind of bets, Boy Green Coffee Club bets, where we're like, we're putting a knife on the table. And we're saying, here's the bet. It's some of this for some of this. And I think my dad was sweating last night, because the bet was Cowboys-Giants straight up. And the Giants looked a little feisty last night. Let's get to him. Bubba Badshaw here on the show. Oh, yeah. I know he said he wasn't sweating on Discord, Badshaw. He was sweating.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could feel it all the way in Arkansas. I could feel the beads of sweat running down his face, because I was watching the game. I had to actually watch a TV show with my wife, and as soon as it was over, I was like, all right, flipped back to the game. It was in the fourth quarter, 11 minutes left, and boy, the Cowboys looked terrible. I mean, they did enough to win.
Sure.
That's all that matters at the end of the day, but man, if I'm a Cowboys fan, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, barely escaping the Giants. Oh, boy.
I know, but I had a feeling. I really thought they might pull it through, but I don't know if you've.
If they didn't kick 1,000 field goals, they would have won. Every friggin' time was a field goal, for God's sakes.
And shout out to anybody who has Malik Neighbors on fantasy. I had him, and I don't know if I don't know how serious that was at the end of the game. That I thought it was a concussion or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But unfortunately, last night I played against CeeDee Lamb and Malik Neighbors, so I am down a lot of points immediately. So that's a real swift kick in the loins, but it's okay. I haven't even had a player play yet. It's not over. There's plenty of time. But yikes, that was tough to watch, where every pass was going to CeeDee Lamb or Malik Neighbors, and I'm just like, oh geez. And yeah, apparently Jerby says it was a concussion, so TBD. We'll see on that for him.
Well, my friends have a new nickname for Devin Singletary.
Okay.
Devin Single Carry.
That's funny. I like that.
I have him on, I think in our league that me and you are in, I have him on there. He didn't do much. And then anyway, so I keep thinking I think he had a decent game last week, but anyway. Well, I'm thinking with the whole Jets and Broncos game, my goal for this week is, I don't remember the score of the Dolphins-Broncos game last year.
Oh, yeah, 75 to something. What was that last year? Let me see real quick. I know the Dolphins had 75. What did the Broncos? Did they maybe get to like 20 or something last year? Let's see. It was 70 to 20. There you go. They won by a 50 burger.
Golly, that's what I want to see this week. That would make me feel so confident going into
the
Minnesota,
London,
Buffalo, Pittsburgh, all those. That would make me feel better if we drop 75. And I watch a lot of Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know if it was him or he was saying his dad had told him this. It was either Chris or Phil said that Aaron Rodgers during that game looked like Joe Montana, Steve Young. How he kind of passed the ball around, because Jerry Rice gets a lot of credit, but I mean, they did pass the ball around to other. I mean, they had a lot of tools on their team besides just Jerry Rice. But of course, that's what Phil Sims said. So I'm like, he played against those guys, so that's something to look forward to and whatnot.
No doubt.
So I'm hoping, we really get in there and handle business. I know I'm an optimistic Jets fan, but hey,
Yeah.
we looked really good last Thursday. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going and whatnot. Are you going to have your show later today with Jake?
Great question. It looks like yes. It's a little up in the air on start time because if Dr. Reef is flexing, I guess I will. I'm reading a bunch of scripts for an award show here in Syracuse. I'm the voiceover guy when people are going to be at this banquet and they're watching the video montages of all these awards. They're going to hear the lovely pipes of Boy Green. So I'm in the radio studio recording a lot of those scripts. So I don't know how long that's going to take. So I've already told Jake to be on standby for whatever that looks like. But one way or the other, the show should happen today.
Awesome. Well, I've got a few more questions, but I'll call back later today and we'll go through that. I know you got other callers. I appreciate you taking my call, Paul. And to Esden Zone, if you're out there, you got me this time, but there may be more bets, the rest of this year. So we'll see.
I love it. There he is. Bad Shot joining us here on the show. And yeah, to be honest, man, I love the gall from old Bad Shot. He sensed something. He smelled something in the water for that. And again, Bad Shot is one of the best. Look at this. Look at that emoji, baby. He's got one of the best gosh darn emojis on the planet. I love that emoji. So we need to see it. When we get, I think whoever calls in, we just got to see like the comment section spammed with a million of their emojis. That'd be great. So bubble Bad Shot. Snowball did a kick-ass job on that emoji. And man, yeah, my father barely escaped with the hair on his chinny chin on that Cowboys-Giants game last night. But I love the bets. Those are cool Boy Green Coffee Club bets to say this or that's going to happen. So, yeah, let's keep the competitive juices flowing as far as I'm concerned. All right, let's go to our next caller here. It's one of our favorites, EZ. Here we are. Oh, with a Kiss shirt. Nice. It was the first concert I ever went to.
Cool. Hey, listen. Can you take a call and then come back to me? I'm about to hook up to this container right now.
No, that's all right. We'll come back to you, EC. I'm a man of the people. I'm willing to adapt. I'm willing to call audibles at the line of scrimmage. So hook up your kerfluffle to the kerslaffle, and we'll come back. That's perfectly A-okay. I would just say on top of this, to answer your thing, Badshaw, again, we had a couple of Jets Broncos previews yesterday with John Heath, my guy Phil Milani. You guys could check out those full shows, the 3 o'clock show and the 7:30 show on full Jets Broncos previews. And we'll have Woody on the Sunday game day show. And I believe my father is joining us tomorrow for that program. But I'll tell you, I think the Jets are going to curb stomp the Denver Broncos. And there's a lot of opponents on the schedule that I respect. The Vikings, man, I don't know if I told you guys before the year, but it's written on paper in the filing cabinet in my radio studio. So hand on the Bible, I have a Jets-Vikings Super Bowl prediction before the year even started. So obviously, I was very high on the Vikings. I thought they were going to be kick-ass. I thought Sam Darnold was going to be like reincarnated with this like quote-unquote final chance opportunity as a starting quarterback. And I thought he was going to kick ass and be amazing. And he has been. So that has not surprised me, quite frankly. And it's great to see. It was a scare last week with an injury. I'm glad that Sam's okay. In some respects, sometimes you don't like the 49ers, right? Christopher McCaffrey surprisingly out 90 minutes before the game. You're like, oh, great, an easier path. But if we can, it's like Tua. I think that's a good example. I don't know how all Jet fans feel. I won't speak for everyone, but when we play the Dolphins, I want them to play with Tua. I don't want any excuses. I want to smack around the fish with the best possible outfit that they have. Now, don't get me wrong. A win's a win. So if you play a Skylar Thompson Dolphins team like Seattle did last week or Tim Boyle Dolphins team, you get the win. You keep moving on. No one's going to question how the win happened. They're just going to count them up at the end of the season. But for the Vikings in particular, I want Sammy to play. I want him to strap up, and let's see what happens in London. That should be a doozy. We don't always get a great London game, but Vikings-Jets is sizing up to be pretty spectacular. But specifically on the Denver game, I think Denver is going to get curb stomped. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is properly motivated for that with the Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett stuff. And then matchup, football. Look at the football on the field. Look at the matchups, man. The Broncos' offensive line, questionable. They have no running game to speak of. Their only running game is Bo Nix. their quarterback, who's their leading rusher. And again, depending on your perspective, that could be good or bad. Like, oh, snap, Lamar Jackson has 254 yards rushing. I only know that because I was looking up a different stat yesterday and I stumbled into that. So he's 254 yards rushing. Whoa, that's pretty dangerous. Bo Nix leading the team in rushing means the Broncos running backs suck. That's what that means. Okay, one-dimensional football team with a rookie quarterback who has 0 touchdown passes. So let me get this straight. Bo Nix has 0 touchdown passes. He's their leading rusher, and their top leading running back has 50 yards rushing. So they can't pass. They can't run. Their offensive line stinks. And they've got a couple of interesting pieces on the defensive side of the ball. I like our chances. I like the odds. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm being a jerk here. Possible. But I'm kind of curious. What's going to happen. So I'm feeling pretty good about that, to be honest with you. Feeling pretty good. All right, let me read some more comments here, actually. Then we'll get back to the phone lines. Dave Briga said it. Key to beating Bills is get Josh Allen back to his gunslinger mentality. I know he has no turnovers yet, no picks or anything. Great. I don't want him to have any turnovers ahead of that Week 6 game because the Jets they just have his number. They can frustrate him, and he can try. A tiger can't change their stripes. Okay? Josh Allen has played ball control football, and that's like he's made big plays. That's not what I mean. Let me try to rephrase my words. Josh Allen has protected the football like nobody's business this year. It's obviously been something that was pounded into his head in the offseason from the offensive coordinator, the team, everything. Protect the ball, Josh. Protect the ball. Let it rip when you see it, but protect the ball. And by the way, he had 0 turnovers, but he's been close on a couple. Foley Alakunsa, I butchered that name for sure. He dropped a pick from Josh Allen. It went right in his breadbasket. So, like, Josh Allen doesn't have turnovers, but, like, he's been close on a few. So, yeah, baby. Let's go to Week 6 and crank up those turnovers. Absolutely, that's a good key. Good comment, Dave. Absolutely. Dalton Kincaid could be a very tough matchup for us. We'll see. They haven't maximized Dalton Kincaid so far this season, so that'll be TBD, but that'll be interesting. I like our linebackers in coverage, though, so I don't think it's some mismatch nightmare, to be honest with you, in particular. I do not. I'm not a Luke Bryan guy. Not a Luke Bryan guy. Let's see. Taylor says, who on the Bills, and I'll come right to you, Easy. I see your thumbs up there. I'll come to you in a second. Who on the Bills is winning a one-on-one against a legit defender with technique? Like, Khalil Shakir, like, I see Allen is a massive Khalil Shakir fan. He's squirrely. I don't know if he's dynamic, but he's squirrely. Like, he's really good yards after the catch. He could kind of wiggle and move around. He's hard to kind of lock in. He's an interesting player. But, you know, like, who else? I think to the point of what Taylor was trying to say is, like, who is just like, damn, we got to know where he is before the play. It's not Keon Coleman. Maybe, like, let me pull up. Let me make sure I'm not overlooking anyone on this Bills team. Let me take a peek ski real quick at the Bills stats. Let's go. Buffalo stats on ESPN. I just want to make sure I'm not, there's not some statistical outlier that I'm missing. So James Cook, it's good when they use him. James Cook is really good, but last year there were times where they didn't run him enough, so that was weird. So I have the receiving core in front of me. Their leading receiver is Khalil Shakir, who's again, he has 14 catches on 14 targets. That's pretty good. Doesn't have a drop. That's very nice. You love to see that. 168 yards, 2 tutties, 12 yards clip. He's doing very well. James Cook is the second leading receiver of the wide receivers. Then you drop down to Kincaid, and then it's a pile of dudes. Ty Johnson is among the leading receivers of the Bills this year, so that tells you that in terms of production. But, like, James Cook is good, but he's a fumbleia guy. He also doesn't get the rock consistently enough. Maybe that's going to change this year with opportunities, but it's interesting. Last season, we saw a lot of that too. But who's a guy that you just put him up, like Garrett Wilson, for instance? He's a good example. Like Garrett Wilson, you just put him out on the field one-on-one. He's got wiggle. Like, he could break away from almost whoever is on him. I'm curious, who is that on Buffalo? Does that player exist on Buffalo? In a one-on-one situation? We'll see Week 6. We'll see Week 6. I can't wait for that game, baby. I don't want to rush any of the other ones. I'm excited for all of them, but Week 6, Monday Night Football, baby, let's roll. Shout out to King Lowski, our royalty, Boy Green Coffee Club member in the chat. JETS, Jets, baby. We love it. From old King Lowski. Shout out. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. I believe the kerfluffle is connected to the sphincter valve. Easy rejoined us here on the show. What's up, Easy?
Hey, Paul. Thanks for coming back to me.
Of course. I'm a man of the people.
Yep. I want to talk about the Raiders.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So it looks like they might be sellers. And as much as Devontae Adams coming to the Jets and reuniting with Aaron Rodgers and having it be a hallmark feel-good moment, and it would probably be a good thing, I think, if they're selling, we should probably go after Max Crosby and then just get rid of this pariah Hassan Reddick. You know where I feel about it. Someone mentioned that Hassan Reddick jerseys are going on sale. I would only buy one if I was going to use it as kindling wood for a bonfire. I mean, I'm done with this guy. First off, he bounces around. He's a young player with super talent, and nobody seems to want to sign this guy. So that to me is a red flag. If he was a good guy and I'm sure he's a good person. He does charity work, but I'm talking a super really good team guy. He would have been signed by the Panthers, or he would have been signed by the Eagles. There's something about him that is rubbing people the wrong way, and I don't want him in my locker room. I'm sorry. At this point, he hasn't been in the locker room. Keep him out. I don't think anything good would happen if we signed him at this point. It's just he's just going to fall on the sword, and he's not coming back. He's not going to play this year. He doesn't want to. He's making this. He's being stubborn. He's making it a point, and he's not coming back. So let's trade him. Let's give him, like they were talking about this three-way thing between the Raiders and the Chiefs, and I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I saw that. That was interesting. But first off, what? Excuse my French, but why the fuck would I want to help the Chiefs?
That's a good point.
We're going to be if we're getting where we want to get, we're probably going to have to go through Kansas City unless something disastrous happens. And I do not want something disastrous to happen to the Kansas City Chiefs. These players are human beings, and I feel for them. They give up their bodies for about a 5-year career on average for the better players to try to make life-changing money for their families. So I don't want any of these guys getting hurt, which means I prefer us at full strength going against the Chiefs at full strength. Full strength doesn't mean I want to give them a good player, though. You follow what I'm saying?
That's what I said, too. When I saw there was an ESPN trade offer where we give the Chiefs Reddick, I'm like, huh? Why?
No, I ain't giving them Reddick. Why? So they could have Reddick and who's that other guy who held out? Chris Jones? No.
Yeah,
Chris Jones.
I was just gonna say I'd rather Reddick die on the sword, and he never plays for anybody, let alone than playing for a rival rival contender, not like rival, but like a person that also competing for the same thing as me. Why would I give them Reddick, who doesn't make any sense? No.
But anyway, I love Adams, and I think he's good, but we don't need Devontae right now, as much as I'd like to have him, because we have Mike Williams, and he's just getting stronger and better every week. So we already have our guy. Okay, like I said, I know Rodgers wants him back because they're buddies, and I get that. But for the good of the team, I think the best fit right now would be Max Crosby. I just do. If the Raiders are selling, I would rather him be on the team than Devontae, and this is nothing against Devontae Adams. I love him to death. I would be more than happy to have him on the team. But I think as a need rather than a want, Max Crosby would fit what we need more than what we want. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I love Max Crosby. He's a super talented player. He's 27 years of age. He just turned 27 a month ago, so he's awesome, obviously. And the statistics are incredible. And I say this with any player, as we've been speculating about like what players the Jets could add to the table. I believe whatever their ceiling was with other teams, it could be higher with the Jets because of our scheme and talent around. Like, look at these numbers for Max Crosby over the last bunch of years. 10 sacks, 7, 8, 12.5, 14.5, and he already has 3 so far this season. The quarterback hits, the Pro Bowls, the being in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation several of these years. I mean, he'd be terrific. And he's been available. He is not, as I have it here in front of me, he has not missed a game in his career. He has appeared in every game so far since being drafted.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah,
don't jinx it.
But my only thing
one other.
That, just real quick, Max Crosby would probably cost multiple first-round picks. Like, I mean, that would be a massive package, probably.
If you're all in, you're all in.
No, I guess that's
Max
true.
Crosby. Max Crosby is sometimes a young player who's that good, who's proven, is worth a first-round pick because I'm going to just mention a couple of names: Blair Thomas, Zach Wilson.
Sure.
Yeah, those were first-round picks, and they didn't work out. Even the Raiders have had theirs. The guy, their quarterback, who everyone said Zach was worse than. What was his name? The guy who wouldn't even look at the tapes of the game. They gave him blank tapes, and he said he watched them. Jamarcus Russell. God damn. So, I mean, sometimes getting a guy like Max Crosby is better. Sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
Because he's already proven.
I get your point. First-round picks are lottery tickets. So, you don't know. They could be the Louisville Slugger Calvin Pryor, or they could be Garrett Wilson or Sauce Gardner. So, right, they're a lottery ticket. You don't know, and it's a scheme and environment, all these things. So, no, I get it. I'd be tempted to get Max Crosby, first off, if he was available and they were selling, and he'd be on there. I don't know if they would because he's 27 and seems to be a foundational piece of that team. But if
we could have Reddick as part of the trade package. So at least they would be getting a premier rusher back. I mean, he's going to be 30, or is he 30, or is he going to be 30?
Who?
I think he's
Reddick?
already Reddick.
He just turned 30. Yeah, he just turned.
Okay,
30.
he just turned 30. So at least maybe we'd say a first-round pick, a third-round pick. Oh, and here, take Reddick. See what you can do with him.
Okay, I like that trade in Madden, but why would they want Reddick? They've got Max Crosby, who's a better player, and he doesn't have an attitude problem. Oh no, I'll switch him out for Reddick, a worse player.
But he's not a worse player. He's on par. But then they also get a first rounder and a third rounder so that they can rebuild. If they're selling Crosby, that means they're in rebuild mode. So we give them a replacement for Crosby and 2 picks.
I guess that's true. Yeah. Okay. You submit that offer and let me know what they say. Easy. That's. Well,
I don't know. You have the applications for remember the draft apps that the people have?
Sure. Oh, the trade apps, and see if they would accept.
Do they have a trade app? Could you do that?
You know what?
Could you put that on there and see if what first and third next year and Reddick?
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna put that in right now. Told me to go fuck myself. Wow. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'll actually put it through, but excuse my Guatemalan. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Johnny Boy's on the show.
Yo, Boy Green, I had to call in. Dude, I've been insanely busy, man, so I haven't really been able to do a lot of things and whatnot.
Sure.
Running around, wifey had her little procedure and stuff get done, surgery, so she's good.
Hopefully
so
she's
I'm with
okay.
the kids, dropping off all 1,000 kids at the damn school and getting them ready. Look, but I had to call in, man. I love Easy, man. Badass Kiss shirt.
Yeah.
That Crosby stuff, we would have to give up Garrett Wilson, a first this upcoming year, second, third, fourth, fifth, eighth, 20th round individuals to be able to even think about getting Crosby to come over here, man. It's never gonna happen. I mean, it would be awesome if
I'd be for it. Yeah,
shit, and pigs are flying up in the damn sky right now, but it's I was wild, man. I mean, I get it. I understand where he's coming from in the sense of I don't know. I can't even defend it, bro. Yeah, that's wild.
I can't just again because I get it. Max Crosby's really good, and if the Raiders are tanking, but again, Max Crosby is such a foundational piece of their leadership council and even if you were rebuilding, wouldn't you want that guy around for the rebuild? That doesn't make any sense. And then again, I still don't get the Reddick thing. No, we'll give you a pass rusher. Well, they don't give a flying hoot about the pass rusher's awesome. That's obviously important, but Crosby's 27. He's fresh 27. And then you have Reddick who's 30. And then the picks, a first and a third. Here's a first and a third that maybe you'll get a player that's probably a quarter of what Max Crosby is. Oh, okay. That sounds pretty good. I just don't understand it. So again, I like the chutzpah. I like the idea in Madden. If they, maybe they drunk accept one night. Yeah, sure. Wait, what? And then we get him maybe, but I just, it seems hard to believe. It seems like if anything's going to happen, it's going to be the Devontae thing. I would love a pass rusher. I'm still looking to explore other possible names that could be available. It seems hard to believe that Max Crosby would be one of those names.
I think the Devontae Adams thing happens more than anything. And I think it happens because he's Aaron's dude. And if he was to come on over, it probably guarantees Aaron to be like, look, I'm going to stay here an additional 2 or 3 years, possibly. It's one of those feel good moves and whatnot, in regards to what the do.
Allen, Trey Hendrickson, who I assume he's talking about. He didn't include a first name, but I'm assuming he's talking about Trey Hendrickson. He requested a trade from the Bengals. The Bengals suck. They're winless. That could be a fun name. And that's the guy that we were saying, Carl Lawson or Trey Hendrickson. I don't know. Let's go Carl Lawson, obviously. Trey Hendrickson could be a fun name. That's a good suggestion, Alan.
But dope interview with the doc that came on here, and all the stability stuff that he's talking about with the the eye coordination and whatnot, and the weird things. Those subtle moves, those twitchy move things, those are the ones that hurt when you're doing all of the PT and stuff like that. So it was dope to get a real deep insight on how he does those things and all that, and the science that goes behind it, which was awesome. So kudos to you, man. But look, easy, man. I love you, bro. I had to call in. I heard that. I mean, BG, you stole my thunder because, they said, that's literally what they would say. They would be like, yo, F off. What is wrong with you? Hey, I get easy. Badass Kiss shirt, man. But that Crosby thing is not happening. That dude's the face of the damn Raiders right now. It's never going to happen. So appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Thank you, Johnny Boy. Again, Johnny Boy, let me check the counter. 32 members away from old Johnny Boy getting his emoji. So we'll see what happens. Again, shout out to Johnny's wife. Hopefully she's doing okay with that operation from that standpoint. Yeah, I would just say this. Antonio Pierce is in his first year with the Raiders. To turn around and trade a pillar, he would soon be fired. Raiders fans would revolt. I can understand the Devontae thing because he's getting older. Expiring asset, you're going in the wrong direction. But Crosby at 27, I just don't see it. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's right. Bring down Max Crosby. He'd be awesome in this scheme. And the Jets have been drooling about it. And Alan, more on the Trey Hendrickson thing. Has 1 year left in his deal, fits in our window. I'll look into that. I'll see if there's any chutzpah to be had there. That would be wonderful. And I'd be curious for a rental. For the Jets shouldn't care about a rental. Depending on if we have any breaking news, I've got a show idea for tomorrow if my dad's joining me or not about an option for the Jets potential trade-wise. But Trey Hendrickson's a good idea. I wouldn't mind a rental as the Jets because we're trying to win the Super Bowl. I don't give a flying hoot. Let's go, man. Let's try to do what we can to make some noise. That's what I'd do. FL Phil 98 says, awesome interview, BG. Yeah, I love Dr. Reef. He's a guy I got to know a little bit, who's cool. We have a good relationship. And, he joined me, Carl Lawson. So actually, it's funny how interviews happen. So I got connected with Leger Douzable. We all know Leger. Leger worked with Dr. Reef. Dr. Reef worked with Carl Lawson. Bing, boom, bam. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy who gets me a contact with Dr. Reef, and all of a sudden, then we have this great relationship. So he's the one to reach out, actually. And I was like, oh, yeah, Dr. Reef, let's get you on the show. I didn't know he had worked with Green Goblin, a.k.a. Jalen Mills, and I didn't know about the Quincy Williams offseason stuff. So it was cool, a perfect interview to bring on a Friday. And everyone on the Discord knew about this interview earlier this week. So shout out to our Discord Boy Green Coffee Club members. They got a huge heads up that we're getting this awesome interview. And we got another big interview next week. I haven't even teased this on Discord yet. We got another juicy interview next week. I'll let you guys know on Discord at some point, either today or tomorrow, on another big interview we have. A guy that you see on ESPN that has never joined my show before. There's your tease publicly. People on Discord are going to know who that is, but an ESPN face that has never joined me on my show is going to pop the Boy Green Daily bubbly next week. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. So that should be a doozy. And if you want to know who that is early and all the other fun bets and other conversation we have, it's joining the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. Down in the YouTube description is how you could join the Boy Green Coffee Club. Click that. Join it. It's $2.99 a month, baby. Help support the show. If you have a good laugh, and I hope you guys do, I hope you guys have some fun with the show. We have some serious Jets talk, some fun Jets talk. We try to have a lot of great interviews for you guys, so hopefully you guys can support the show. That's the way to do so. Liking the video, hitting subscribe to the 400 people in the room live right now. That's how you guys can support the show, of course, for free. But if you want to take it to another level, baby, then, of course, join the Boy Green Coffee Club. You can also gift memberships. If you're watching on YouTube, this little money sign, click that. Final option is gift memberships. 1, 3, 5, 10, 25, 50 memberships if you want, as Badshaw did earlier. He didn't do 50 earlier. He did more members, and so did Terrence and Dre Correa, and Badshaw was great. Again, we're 32 members away from old Johnny Boy getting that as well. Let me go with a couple questions, and we'll sign off here. Galatron, BG, do you think Mills will get elevated at some point? Absolutely, I do. I think it's a matter of time. I think he's got to familiarize himself with the scheme, get comfortable on the practice squad, and eventually he's going to be a elevation maybe a few times, because you have a couple of those to use. I believe you can have 4 elevations for a single player throughout a season. I think eventually he's just a 53er. I think he's going to replace someone on that back end. We'll see who that someone ends up being, because I think he's gave great insurance for Michael Carter II, because he does a little bit of everything. If you look at some of the PFF analytics of positionally where he lines up, of boundary corner, slot corner, nickel back, he's lined up as a pass rusher. He's lined up as a box player, kind of like a box safety type kind of player, box safety like linebacker. Like, there's some of those analytics on some of his positional stuff, and that is pretty fascinating, I think, as well. So yes, Galatron, I absolutely do believe that Jalen Mills will be an elevation and then eventually a straight up call up. Go back to Allen here. We'll finish off the show here. Don't know if it would cost a first to get him, maybe a second or something. Definitely not a first for Trey Hendrickson as a expiring player. Definitely not. I don't think so. But that's also a good point. The Panthers play the Bengals. They dropped 0-4. Talks will certainly pick up on a variety of teams and some potential movement, baby. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I appreciate it. Again, I have a lot of fun on this show. I love doing this show. This is so much fun. You guys bring smiles to me. I hope we bring smiles to you guys, too. Again, we should be on later today with Jake Asman. Again, I'm doing some voiceover work for scripts. I'm about to go to the radio show, do my radio show. Then I got to do that voiceover work. We'll see what time it is, but I'm depending on when Jake is willing to move and groove, we should have that show no matter what later today. But it's on me because I got all this extra voiceover work to do. So I'll let you guys know and keep you guys posted on that Jake Asman show that should be coming a little bit later in the day. Worst case, if that does not happen, we'll be on, of course, tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily, and maybe a pivot of a Jake Asman show at a different time. But either way, keep an eye out for it. We'll try to be there, baby. And let's friggin' go. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for enjoying the interviews, and thanks for supporting the show, baby. Let's go, Jets.